motherfucking shit on no paper. I don't got time. I got other shit that I could be doing to progress myself where I don't even need that shit. So you know what I do instead of sending spells at motherfuckers? I wish everybody well, and anybody that send me the spell, with all due respect, I send
Go to
that back
hell.
shit back with a reject.
He
I don't
said,
want
hey, with
none.
all due
I'm not.
respect,
I
go
don't
to
want none
hell.
of that. Yeah, I don't want none of that. So you can keep it, and when it go back to them, it's gonna be
Yeah,
amplified and multiplied. So I don't.
yeah.
That's why I don't
Cause
wish bad on motherfuckers.
that shit gotta come back to you. And a lot of people that practice that shit and use their powers for evil, they know that this energy, this negative energy that I send out is gonna return to me. And they okay with that. That whatever we do is gonna come back to us. You feel me? And the evil energy that we put out, it come back to us even harder. And it's deep. We got to be careful. So that ain't nothing to play with. That's why a lot of people that's deep into that shit, they fucked up. Motherfuckers go blind fucking with these rituals and shit. Lose lose a leg, a hand. Just weird shit be happening. And they the one who putting the energy on everybody. But it's fucking them up because that energy coming back to them. Like this shit be deep, man. But yeah, though. So yeah, Joe. I just want to know your opinion. What if I would have sent some energy back to this bitch way, G, like would that would have been justified? Because we know that
It depended on your it depended on your intent. You got one of the laws of nature is the right to defense. Defensive magic has always been a part of our practice, which takes us to some of our other ancestors, the ones that fall up under Shango and the ones
the
that fall
Orisha.
under yeah. So these ancestors, the energy in our DNA is all they are. But some of them, if you do something to them, oh baby, they gonna send that
Oh
shit
yeah,
back. They
hell
gonna send
yeah.
some hot shit
That's what
behind it.
that's what I'm saying. And
They
then
gonna
look,
send some,
and then look, bro, like she a witch, G. She practiced witchcraft. And we connected to the ancestors. The difference between voodoo and witchcraft, both of them contain not roots. Roots is knowledge of the plant, astrology, and geography. You feel me? So to do voodoo requires the same thing, and witchcraft requires the same thing: roots, astrology, and geography. Now, and alchemy. Now, the only difference is voodoo requires an ancestral connection as well. With a witches practicing witchcraft, they don't need to be connected to the ancestors. That's why witchcraft ain't that. It ain't strong as voodoo. That voodoo or that Ifa, that spirit work gonna hit heavier and it's gonna hit fast and harder because of the ancestral connection. And that's why I tried to tell her, like, you over here using your powers for evil purposes, don't even know, G. And then she very deceiving. Like she'll get on here and try to lie to it. She try,
so
G,
a little bit different,
this
a
shit
little bit
crazy.
different in witchcraft, right?
Yeah.
Witches do ceremonies in nature that tie them to the ancestor of nature. They don't use like the Orisha formula or the E5 formula that we might use,
Nah, they don't.
but they use a different formula and they use a different ritual because they come from a different generation, a different era. So
Witches
they
are
have
very
to,
wise. They very wise.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like witches are
So
very
they
wise.
had to learn a different. And in their studies, they determined originally that the standard of beauty of the black woman was so great that they couldn't overcome that obstacle and compelled them to amalgamate with a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
And in contrary to that, back then, when they did the analysis, they couldn't figure out why the white woman didn't find the black man attractive.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
How in the fuck is they gonna get one drop of blood when they don't attract each other?
Right, go ahead.
So what do you put between two repulsions in order to cause them to contract together or to draw together?
Shit, glue. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Look, you got two opposing forces. You need something to interrupt or to draw the two forces together. Right? So now the only way you can do that is you have to have something called a reverse resistor, which is going to in turn invert the current of one and automatically draw it to the other. What do everybody motherfucking want? What they can't fucking have.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
So how do you enforce getting these people together? While we at war, they telling us to stay away from white salad. Right? Remember, George Wallace was the governor, was running for governor in Georgia. And he stood up there with a group known as the KKK.
Go ahead.
And he was adamant that we will protect the sanctity and purity of the white woman at all costs.
Yeah, go ahead.
How the fuck you gonna do that?
Right.
Okay, so now we understand the dynamic of the KKK and their origins. Right? Because they come from Barcelona, Spain, and the Black Hand was the grand dragon that led the hordes in uniform with cone heads across the land. Now remember, I told y'all before, they use pale faces to block institutions to keep out the friendly faces, to keep us out of the institutions. But they got the secrets and they hiding in the lodge, 32 Degrees, Scottish Rite, Albert Pike, Adam Weishaupt, George Washington, Two-Ball King Flip. They tied that shit all together in the Masonic Lodge. And now they use reverse psychology to draw two people that didn't even have any affinity for one another together because they told them they can't have each other. Because now the eugenicists is telling you that they trying to get rid of the birth defect in the European. Dr. Francis Quest Welsing told him exactly what the defect was. And it stopped them from having the right to ascend. Big Mama don't like it that. She said, you don't throw people away like trash. So all this time, we've been thinking that we was the last that was about to be made first. We was living as last to the ones that was last that Big Mama made first. Because they did the dirt, the good had to suffer with the bad.
One bad apple spoils a whole bunch, huh?
One bad apple spoiled the whole motherfucking bunch. When you get so comfortable living in opulence lifetime after lifetime, it's exhilarating to have the resistance of the struggle in order to make your God form shine brighter than it ever had before. But first you got to wake up from the slumber. So the devil is in place in order to use the law, because it wasn't over here before they came. We didn't have no prisons. So Big Mama smarter than motherfuckers. So what did she do? Because we didn't know how to break from under the curse. Kingu. Because they was doing the bloodletting rituals that was making us incapable of learning. Because it kept our brains in a stupor, a spell of sleep. Because the angels can't function in a state of fear. The fear caused all of our auras to shrink in on themselves and created our own hell. And bow down to something inferior to us because we failed to go within to find out who the fuck we was. All right? So the historical record pieces being put together, the genetic practices is also being spoke of in ancient times, right? And the scrolls that tell the story directly and indirectly all say the same thing. They say exactly what Baba said. You motherfuckers ain't getting punished for your sins. You getting punished by your sins. So who in the fuck is they using to thrash our asses across the back?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, now that's going to have a lifespan and it has to come to an end. It got to have a lifespan and it has to come to an end. It got to come to a grand finale because this shit can't continue on. So we look around the world and find, is there any more melting pots?
That's right. Go ahead.
You remember what Pop said, right? Brazilianization.
Yeah.
Right? And Brazilianization is the mixing up of a genetic pool in order to clean birth defects from an inferior stock by the royal blood from across the land. The South American priest was the least infiltrated and the most effective in recovering Yakub's grafted devil. Because how did they say, Elijah say they had to, how did they have to get rid of them? Reverse engineer them.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if they need one drop of blood, that's enough to give them a right to ascend. Because now they can raise the sacred secretion. Before they could only operate on what's called the silver liquid, which is what they call cerebral spinal fluid, which is virtually clear like water. Right? And is heavily infused with colloidal gold, colloidal silver, and other essential trace minerals and metals. It's not until the soft metals come into the body, what we call toxic metals, that interferes with the harmony in the system of allowing the secretions to rise. That's why they be putting all that metals in our shit.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Hey, how, like, I hear you say that they need that one drop of blood to ascend. Is that the same thing to say that they need that they stored soul, restored, or needed a soul to
look,
get
when they said they didn't have a soul, it was because the calcification of the channel that allows the sacred secretion to rise.
The pineal gland, the melanin. Oh shit! I know this. Go ahead.
They couldn't raise the liquid from the base of the spine to the head. And it caused them to short circuit and blow a fuse. Right? And it causes them to operate on the lower three chakras. They can't get past that. All they need is one drop of blood to clear the channel. So in the Eugenics was all the time telling the public that they was trying to keep us apart. They was actually behind the scenes promoting interracial relationships in order to clean up the genetic defect and allow the people that didn't have the right to ascend to now have a right to ascend.
All this makes sense.
So now we understand why we tolerated all of that bullshit, because at any given time, under our oppression, we could have rose up and took over, but we didn't know it.
The whole damn time.
The whole goddamn time. The whole goddamn time that freedom was a carrot on the stick. And they had the stick tied up to our motherfucking back.
Damn. Go ahead.
So when we was chasing freedom, we didn't know that we are the ones that dispense freedom across the land. All we got to do is remember who the fuck we is and give the order to restore the balance to the land, the air, and the water. And Galactic law say anything in any organization functional enough to aid on the planet must be mobilized in order to clean up the earth, the air, and the motherfucking water. What used to be chemtrails is cleanup shit now, but it still got to come out the sky. And it still got to bring the foul shit down with it in order to get it out the air. And when it come out the air, mama got to send that water to flood in order to wash that shit off the land so that it could go into the underground channels and be filtered through the charcoals and the soils of the earth. So now you see flooding in dry places. Shit, Baltimore flooded the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Damn, Baltimore flooded? Damn.
I just posted it on my Instagram. Somebody sent me the video. Somebody from Baltimore sent me the video and say, look, this Baltimore.
Damn, that's crazy.
Now remember, they still got floods in California, Arizona, and New Mexico, and they don't even hardly get rain. Remember? It never rains in Southern California. So when it do, we need to be paying attention. Why is it all of a sudden raining in Southern California when it don't normally rain in Southern California because it's in the desert? That's going to make us have to go visit the Orisha, because the only place to find the answer is patriarchy brings drought and it scars the land. When the matriarchy comes and those three soldiers get done tearing shit up, you know, we talking about Shango, Ogun, and Legba, in order to get the shit situated and straightened out. When Oshun returned, she returned with the floods to flush and cleanse the land, and then she brings the tranquility and the sweet water behind it, which is the payout. So all we got to do is time this shit to a jubilee year, right? At the close of the age, and the transferring of the energy from Aquarius, which is the water, from Pisces, which is the water, to Aquarius, which is the air. That's moisture, that's evaporation, right? The reverse of evaporation is called saturation, right? So now the water picture of Aquarius was broke in order to signal the return of the Aquarian age. This was symbolic in a star meteor flying through the trajectory of the water bottle that Aquarius carries. Right? That's the return of the sweet water for Oshun, who washes away the toxins off the surface of the earth, send them into the bowels and the belly of the planet to be recycled and cleansed. Because we got to cleanse the land, but you first got to start with the air. So you evaporate the water where it wasn't normally at in order to rain where it didn't normally rain. Right? So in order for that to happen up in the upper atmosphere, you got something called an atmospheric river that has to change trajectory in order to switch where the condensation of the earth arises. The only way this can happen is if we get off of a Schumann resonance and get back to the Shu and Tefnut resonance of the golden cycle, right? But the UVB rays of the sun, shout out to Brother Kalai. That brother did a good job on explaining that shit. He was breaking that shit down. But we're going to check that out too. We're going to have to go over that one day because it's also part of what I'm talking about. These rays of sunlight interact with the people, what they call the royal families, the noble blood, because it's earth-born stardust accumulation in order to give sentience to the physical body, right? That's the easiest way to explain earth-born child of the stars. So in order to be here, you have to be on a certain frequency in order to be optimally functional here. And if you have somebody here that's denied the right to be optimally functional, then somebody got to fix it.
Oh, shit.
And some of them, the wisest ones, they don't care about taking sides. They only care about being effective. They just want to make sure that the job get done, that shit get done right, and all of the bullshit get cleaned up. So, Gilda had to step out for a sec. I had to do that a minute ago. I got to talk to my sister. Look, my sister called. I had went over because they was trying to tell her she needed to be in hospice, and my mom already told me she ain't going nowhere. She got to keep her grandkids. So I went and got her some supplements to get her on her feet. My cousin called me talking about what you give her. She up cleaning up the house, she cleaning out the refrigerator. And I was like, see, I told y'all. But I had to wait till the traditional doctors can't do nothing, because then you ain't got shit to lose. You might as well try the remedy that I'm giving you, because it's an option you didn't have before. And when people got faced with their last option, they more likely to take advantage of opportunities when it's presented to them under those conditions. And sometimes those opportunities come from the most unexpected places. Everybody be looking for shit to be in a little neat order, and everybody to be squeaky clean, and nobody ain't never made no mistakes in their life. We all made mistakes. We All what the Christians say, we all fall short of the glory of God because we ain't all doing no God shit. Motherfucker running around talking about they woke and they diet woke. They talking about they gods, but they don't do no God shit. And they don't even know the difference between the God and the man. So at that point right there, they stuck because they gonna tell you I don't know what the fuck they gonna tell you, anthropomorphism. But the fact that the original woman, Mitochondrial Eve, is the oldest genetically traceable female, right? And what they call primordial Adam is the furthest tracing male. You want to look them up, young girl, to show the people?
Yeah, go ahead. Wait, I'll look it up for you. Go ahead. What you got?
Mitochondrial Eve, so they can see that this is a real shit. They got whole scientific papers on this shit. I had to do this sometime because they be saying I don't be having no receipts.
Hey man, your receipts be official, bro. What was the last word? Mitochondrial
Eve. See it at the bottom?
Okay, right there. Eve.
Yeah.
Mitochondrial Eve.
Read what it say right there in human genetics.
Oh shit. In human genetics, the mitochondria